What is going on, guys? Today we are looking at the beautiful tier list of a mid FC24 players. So we've got a lot of versions. Let's just jump straight into it. So straight off the bat, we have got the S+, which now I only put 3 players in. So it'll be a cam, a CM and a CDM, all in the best position. So for instance, if I was going to pick a CDM and I wanted, for instance, Hullet, that would be my number one shout as a CDM. The S is obviously going to be top tier. A+ is just missing out. Maybe they're decent, but they're not quite at that level yet. Then obviously A starts to degrade, and B is pretty much just the bottom of a decent tier. None of these players are inherently terrible. There's always a silver lining for them. So if I'm just going to start chucking a few players out, I believe if I was going, just purely because I have spoke about these a second ago, I would be looking at something along the lines of this. So Simons, I feel like with this card as an 87 is decent, but he's definitely waiting for the upgrade. That is going to be where he could really push himself up. Right now, I think he's very average in that cam. Koyunde as a CDM, definitely a better option. You could even argue between him and Rudiger being very close. I just find Rudiger that little bit more better in that CDM role. There's literally no other way of putting it. Whereas I do think Tomori and Ramos, even though the style of CDM is totally different, Ramos's kind of lean body type really works, whereas Tomori's pace is phenomenal in that specific position. Modric, on the other hand, you've got a 230,000 coin road to the knockout, which literally is the exact same card bar from one thing, and the 900k team of the year honorable has ping pass. Now, I don't particularly find, 700k difference, 650 if you want to be pedantic, a big upgrade for a Playstyle Plus. As much as Ping Pass is decent, definitely not worth that. I would go with the road to the knockout. But this is about how they play rather than necessarily how much they are. If we're then going to throw through McAllister, I'd probably put him before the upgrade at an A. I think he's very cheap. Decent option, but I think the upgrade is going to be absolutely vital for him. We've got Musiala, absolutely rate him. I do think he now needs an upgrade in terms of a cam. He's not going to sit in that top zone for me. He will be just under and waiting for that double Playstyle Plus to really kick in. Kimmich, a bit unlucky for him. Kimmich is a hard one because I do think he is a good card, but I just don't know if in a CDM I would actually go that high anymore. You look at he's a very good card though. That's the problem. When you look at him in comparison to like a Ramos, I think it comes down to in-game for Ramos more than anything. If I'm looking at him in comparison to someone like a Conte, again, I just don't know if Kimmich is really coming into the end of that. Obviously, pace-wise, is going to be a different. Defending physicals, very similar, bar from Conte having immense defending, but the dribbling, passing is going to come in clutch there. Long ball pass, pinged pass. It's a decent option for him, so I think I've got to put him in there. If he's going to be the CDM, he's definitely one of the better ones. He's definitely better than Rudiger and Koyunde, 100%. Maybe not necessarily as good as the radioactive Conte. Definitely the flashbacks coming up easily time. Easy. Pedri, no, he's just average. I'm not playing with him. He's got decent passing, decent dribbling, but defending physical. It's the exact same thing that I say with Xavi, whereas Modric at least has a bit of both. You're looking at 75 and 74 on the shooting defending. It's just not good enough. We have the defenders in, well, the CDMs in Petite. We also have, where have they gone? Rijkaard and also Armand Petite. So these are kind of like a free comparison cards we've had over the past 2 weeks. Rijkaard SBC, Petite being the most expensive, Gattuso being the cheapest. I think it'd be quite easy for me to go with Gattuso. Rijkaard and Petite are definitely up there in the better options of a CDM.
If your team's looking like this, then I have the place for you. Head over to U7Buy for all your coin needs. They're cheap, fast, and reliable, but make sure to use JT11 at the checkout for 6% off all of your coin orders.
We then have got the Valverde effect. Absolutely love this card. There's going to be a lot in S, to be honest. I'm not going to lie to you. There's definitely there is an abundance of incredible cards that are all expensive, but there is definitely a kind of sign. Maybe you could drop everybody down one. Maybe Ramos goes down one and then you kind of save it for the Valverdes and the S. But I think in terms of all of these, they could easily go into a main team if you haven't already got anybody at the absolute top. So like a David Beckham is an easy centre mid in the top tier. I don't know if I'd class him as the best centre mid in the game, but he's definitely up there. Same with Yaya. You could argue potentially you'd look at Yaya like that now. Maybe the hero is starting to drop down, and I'd probably say the same for Ramirez. I think in terms of stats now, you are going to need a better version, and it's what we've always said when it comes to progression. That is what we need. KDB easily in the S. Not really seen my S plus tiers yet. We might do them in a moment, but like I said, CDM, Cam, and also centre mid is going to be the big options for them. If we have a few quick fires now on obviously Abide Pele, I'd probably put him in the A plus still. Alisson Becker, again, very similar. I thought he'd actually be a lot more used. It's kind of just came out of people's teams now. I think I saw him a couple of days ago and was like, okay, then it's a different card to have. Definitely finding a lot more different teams going on at the moment, which is nice to see rather than just the same meta teams completely. So it is interesting to see him actually available, but I did think that not many people actually finished him off. Baggio, I'd definitely go as a Cam 1 under. Who have I got in Cam? I will relist these as well. I'll kind of go through them just to make sure, because once you've kind of looked through once and you think, okay, I'm going to whack him there, you maybe add somebody too high up, and I will look at the end to just give it that overall review and we can see what we can go with. Rodri, I think, is easily an S. Where are the other versions? Rodri is phenomenal. A beautiful card. The shame that he got with that Team of the Year is the fact that we already had the Fire and Ice, which was already like a big wow on the card, and the 95 was just like, okay, that's a nice upgrade. But if we got the Team of the Year without the Fire and Ice, that would have been an absolute explosion. Bernardo Silva, one of the best, cheapest cards you can physically get. I think he's about 70 to 80k. Phenomenal for the 91. Brilliant, brilliant card. Barella, I'd be looking on a little bit down low now. We kind of need a bit of an upgrade for him. Bruno, obviously going to go up in that. One of the better cams you can easily get in the game. We might as well chuck in the cam because it's quite an easy one as well. We will look at Mr. Ronaldinho. It's an easy cam option. I don't think there's too much better. You could argue between Zidane. You could argue Zico. Maybe even chuck in a cheeky Pele there. But Ronaldinho as the 95 is always going to be number one. It just has to be number one. It has to be. Seedorf, on the other hand, I'm going to go A plus as well. I feel like he's definitely above Gattuso in terms of icon stature with what he can do in the game. But I don't think he's too far off going a bit above. Gerrard, on the other hand, I know that is a decent card that we've got. 600, incisive pinged. I mean, that's not a bad upgrade. 7 on the pace, 5, 3. It's a decent upgrade for him. Maybe in the low ends, if we've got Petit and Rijkaard there, he's got to be. This is the problem. So I could potentially drop. Right, we'll do this at the end. I'll go through them all. We'll go and kind of reorder them because I do think Rijkaard's definitely under Gerrard, but Gerrard isn't necessarily like the top. Like, he doesn't come up with like a KDB. He doesn't kind of. He's probably very similar to Modric in some aspects of the game and different kind of how he plays centre mid, but we keep moving. Xavi will go in the A+. Pina, definitely go in the A+. Ballack is just not there anymore, unfortunately. Delpy will go obviously in the A+. De Jong is definitely coming down. De Paul will go A+ easily. Makalele, he's got to be above Gattuso, so he's going to sit pretty there. And then we get Oberdorf. Easy S. Easy S. And then if we want to chuck in another S+, it's got to be Bellingham. I think in terms of a box-to-box centre mid, that is the best. Don't get me wrong, very expensive. It's not as if everybody's going to be sitting there with Jude, but look at the card. He is just absolutely brilliant. 96, he's coming in at 7.3. Naturally, 90, 88, 90, 96, 90, 91. That is an incredible card. There's not even a debate. There's a lot of good centre mids, and I think Beckham definitely proves that with an upgrade to a 91 was perfect, but you do not beat a Team of the Year of that sort of calibre. It just doesn't happen. When we look at a few of these icons, obviously you're looking at somebody like a Zico. He's got himself a 3 upgrade now, and arguably I'd probably still put all of them in the S, and that is crazy to think, but really when it comes to icons, if they're on that same mentality, somebody like a Matthias, he's going to be the best of the best, so both cards are incredible. Even Cole Palmer, I think with a card like him, I'm interested to see what sort of price we're looking in at now. It's coming in at 3.2 still. That is absolutely nuts. We obviously got the 83, but a 91 quick step, finesse, very, very good cam nonetheless. Future Stars does normally come out with some bangers. Obviously, another Future Star, easy banger. We do have Bellingham's other card. I don't think that's quite in the S Plus anymore. More than likely, we got the 1991. That is where we're starting to really put him back into the rating, and he's hopefully going to catch up his 96 at some point. Now, in my eyes, in terms of the best CDM in the game, it's got to be Patrick Vieira. Tall, strong, stats are incredible. He's got himself the block and intercept on the Playstyle Plus, again coming in at 7 million. So I think if he was looking for these three players alone, Ronaldinho, Bellingham and Vieira, you'd looking at about 30 million between all three of them. That would be a nuts midfield nonetheless, but he is definitely, in my eyes, the best CDM. Not going to say that he is the only option at the top. Hullet puts in a great example. Obviously in CDMs, Rodri's still going to put in a great shot. You've even got a few of the kind of lower tier players that could play at a box-to-box or CDM that definitely put in an argument at the minimum. They may not be an easy shout, so if you thought of like a Bon Mati in a CDM or a Putellas, yes, I could argue, but most definitely as a solid DM, Vieira's got to have my shout. If then we throw in the rest, I feel like Kaka's definitely up there. Probably go one less for his 89 now, definitely coming in a little bit less. Rivaldo, to be honest, I was a little bit disappointed in him. I thought he would be better. I do think it's a great upgrade for the card, but I think I'd just rather go Kaka in my opinion. Now when it comes to the rest, to be honest, a lot of them are in a top sort of zone. So we're going to just blast through these and then we'll re-rank. We'll go over them again and let's see what we can come up with. So let's just move that out one more. So Sauer, easy S. Amina Icon definitely comes just under. I'm not feeling Son anymore at the minute. Essie's definitely in the top category. Ooh, Schneider. Schneider's a funny one because I'm pretty sure, did he get the 5-star upgrade? He did. Stat-wise, looking good. 1.5, Jesus. 4-star, 5-star, and a 5. But yeah, it's an easy option. I was just checking because I'm pretty sure he was a 5-5, but just in case. KDB Centurions, to be honest, I wasn't that much of a fan if I'm being really brutal with him. Cruz, you know, what did he have? Because he's definitely an interesting one now. He's getting the upgrades into him. Obviously, he's got himself the 85 on the pace, 86, 83, 95. I mean, it's a pretty good card nonetheless. He is going to be a bit more expensive than what he probably should be, purely on the fact that he can always be upgraded as well. Neymar, easy. Even these two, Bon Mati, Putellas is just an easy combination there. We have got the multiple versions of them as well. I'd probably be looking more of an A+ and maybe a lower S for the Winter Wildcard and normal. Bon Mati, I feel like both of these would just go sitting in there quite easy. Pele S, Vieira S, all of the Zidane's S, and then obviously we've got the Hullets. Again, your arguments kind of stand. Now the question is this the best way to put them in? So let's just get them in a row. So obviously we've got the full amount, we've got the cam, the centre mid, the CDM. Now in terms of the rankings, we've got a lot of S. So let's see if we can make this just a little bit more tidier. If we're going to try and bring people down so that obviously we've got a bit more room, I think if we're thinking of these as B is, they're not really going to fit into your team that much anymore. Or at least you're arguing that you're not going to actually use them. I think Barella's going in there. De Jong would definitely go in there. Ramirez has got a shout. Same with Gattuso in a CDM. I don't think Pedri gets used. I don't even think Conte gets used, to be honest. Koyunde probably did him a disservice, because I do think he is definitely up there more so with Rudiger. I'd be happy with that. Putellas Gold, still a 5-5. You could probably argue that Bon Mati doesn't get in, to be honest. Putellas will stay there. Then we've got Musiala, definitely. Yaya, definitely. Abide possibly could be in an S. Same with Alisson, to be honest. Seedorf might drop down one. Again, whether he goes into your team is going to be the big question. We then got Pinner. I think she's brilliant. Xavi, I love the team of the year. Delpy's up there. De Paul is definitely up there. Bellingham's has got an argument on his stats for the card, but in-game, much better. Kaka's there. Rivaldo potentially could be an S, to be honest. I think is he still very expensive enough? Put him in an A+. Like, I mean, I mean, 860, I've seen worse. Petrie, you could argue. You definitely could argue. We'll drop her down 1 in Bonmati. Sauer, I think, stays. Sonny Boy, I definitely think he stays. KDB's there. Okay. Then we've got Tomori and Rudiger. See, the problem is, I really like Ramos, and Tomori is very, very similar. So I'm thinking, Tomori will drop down. I personally like Ramos. I think he's a brilliant option. Modric, arguments, but I like him. Kimmich, I think, is fair. Conte's there. Rijkaard and Petit will drop down. I don't think they're absolutely top of top, but in terms of pricing, brilliant. Valverde, yes. Beckham, yes. Yaya, yes. Ramirez, yes. Everybody of these. Bernardo Silva's phenomenal. Bruno Fernandes, look, I put them both together. Happy accident. Gerrard, I think, is up there. Oberdorf, definitely. Zico's definitely. Palmer, Bobby, Kaka, Sauer, Essien, Schneider, Kroos, Neymar, Bonmati, obviously. I think that's not bad. Let me know what you think. I think that is a pretty good list. Obviously, they're not in order of this, in terms of this, because that'd just be a mess in itself. I could put all the CDMs and cams together, but I mean, in terms of the best players, they're where I would rank them in terms of the top, and also the kind of mid to bottom tier. Let me know if you agree.